Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, fellow citizens of Mendocino County. My name is David Gurney. I'm a licensed commercial fisherman of the state of California and a United States Coast Guard licensed sea captain and a 34-year resident of Mendocino County. This spring, in just the past few weeks, we have observed the beautiful migration of the gray whale as they spout about a half-mile offshore. This is exactly where we are now on the threshold of imposing a net gridwork of cable, underwater wires, and anchor lines that would confuse and injure these animals. In other words, say goodbye to the whale festivals. We are at a critical turning point. We have gotten much out of the oceans. Indeed, scientists would say that our very lives both originate and are dependent upon the sea. Mendocino County is blessed with one of the longest coastlines of any county in the United States. We are the guardians of both the creatures that live in this habitat and the unique storehouse of food that thrives on the upwelling current that provides rich nutrients for our unique ecosystem. We're talking pure, economically viable food source, ladies and gentlemen. 20 years ago, this community roundly rejected the idea of oil drilling off our coast. I believe this wave energy proposal is a sham, a foot in the door for corporate technology to build footings on the ocean floor and other structures that will later be used for oil rigs and infrastructure. But it's more than that, ladies and gentlemen. The idea of laying claim to the wild ocean as just an extension of real estate is wrong. These wave farms will present a navigational hazard that have the potential to both threaten the lives of mariners and to further degrade the marine environment by presenting the possibility of collision with misplaced and inappropriate maritime structures. This, ladies and gentlemen, will cause oil spills and loss of life. Should a disaster occur, and it will open Mendocino County up to litigation for allowing these things to be placed off our coast in the first place. These wave farms will make vast restricted areas and security zones that will close huge areas to fishermen and navigators. A boat lost in the fog or at night could easily strike them. And worst of all, wave energy will most likely prove impractical and frankly will not work. Dear members of the board, let's see this wave energy boondoggle for what it is, an out-and-out land grab in the oceans, sponsored by an outlaw federal administration for the benefit of big oil. If we truly want to experiment with the viability of this untested and highly dubious technology, let's set aside one very small tract to try out a few prototypes. There is absolutely no excuse for a false hope of free energy to set off a huge, illegal, irresponsible land grab on our oceans. I urge the board to do everything within your power to stop these lease proposals off our coast and to register in no uncertain terms your opposition to it on behalf of the people of Mendocino County and the state of California. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gurney. Please step forward and state your name for the record and keep your comments 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Larry Knowles, and I'm the owner of Rising Tide Sea Vegetables. I'm also a certified green builder, and I just wanted to make a few comments about the wave energy. And I also wanted to appreciate the board for hearing this and for putting in a motion to intervene, even though it was, as we all know, denied. To start, I want to just put in some environmental issues that I see as being really critical to this. And the last speaker actually spoke to some of these, but what I want to specifically speak to are the issues in the intertidal zone. And some of you may have already heard this, but I'm going to do it again. The rocky intertidal zone that we have here on the Mendocino coast is unique. It has the cold, nutrient-rich waters that is brought together by the upwelling phenomena. It has rock that is really critical for marine algae and all kinds of invertebrates and many organisms that are dependent on the marine algae and the sunlight and the confluence of all of these elements. And my concern with the wave energy specifically is that they're talking about a shadow in the swell pattern that would occur off the coast here. And these ecosystems that we have here have been developing over eons with the swell pattern, with the swell intensity that is critical for this habitat to be intact. And my concern is that if the percentages, let's say 10, 12% of this swell force is reduced basically year-round as a result of one of the full-on wave farms that are being proposed, that it would essentially, what is now called, convert the habitat. And essentially what habitat conversion means is it would really destroy an ecosystem. And I have really grave concerns about this issue on the coast based on my spending about 15 years, about 3 months of the year on and around the intertidal zone harvesting sea vegetables here. And when I have seen the reduction of the swell as a result of El Nino and the La Nina events that we have here, there's a significant stress on these plants that are at the bottom of the food chain and that are really critical for creating the habitat for a lot of the nurseries that we need for our rockfish also. So those are my main points. And I just want to say that I really appreciate all your energy that you put into this issue. I know that a lot of you are from inland and that it's not really within your jurisdiction, but I think it's something that we really need to watch. I think FERC is an agency that is one of the most out-of-control agencies in the federal government, and I really want to see that we stay on this topic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles. Was there a question, Supervisor?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Before we finish the public comment, I think it's good that we're having this because we're getting really good input from local residents on this topic, which is a very important one to the coast currently and really all of Mendocino County and regions beyond us, of course. But I have asked County Council to give us, and she is prepared to do so before we conclude this discussion, give us an update from the legal perspective, because Mr. Kaler gave us an overview, and it was basically a recap of a previous board action that took place, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. But the county has done a number of legal filings since that approval of that additional work plan that the Executive Office and County Council have engaged in. So I just wanted to assure people that before we leave, we do have something of more substance and more specifics that County Council can comment on, and it may or may not be along the lines of the comments that the public's here to make today, but I wanted to assure you that there have been a number of legal filings, and I think this is a good opportunity to very briefly convey to the public what those are and some things that the county is actually contemplating and thinking, and that we do have a process in place to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just briefly, our office has been primarily focused on the FERC issue, and we did file a petition for rehearing that essentially addressed the denial of the intervention status, and also we requested a rescission of the permit as well. And so we're waiting to hear from FERC based on that petition. I understand that City of Fort Bragg may have taken that similar action as well. We're also in contact with folks, other state agencies, state lands commissions, to discuss with them what our status is and what they can do to assist us in this regard. In addition, we have, under our local coastal plan, we do have an ordinance that does allow the county to regulate on-site wave energy projects. So once it